October 2nd today. This is my only lemon tree. It's getting a little bit tall. Moves around a lot in the wind. It's getting pretty top heavy. I'm gonna have to bring it inside for the winter in, I don't know, a couple weeks, a few weeks maybe. The temperatures are still okay for now. I won't have a lot of space inside for plants this winter, so I'm gonna need to make everything pretty small. This one, I don't want to go too far back into these yellowing leaves. There's a really nice leaf here. It's a good place to leave it. I think I'll make 2 cuttings out of this, 2 small ones. Try and plant them, see what happens. I planted a bunch of lemon seeds quite a long time ago now. This is the only one that's survived. So I'll call it the strongest one and try and propagate its genes through a couple cuttings. See how it grows inside over the winter, and then maybe do some more pruning in the spring. Let it do some good growing next year, get some side branches, some more shape, and go from there. Love the way everything looks after a nice rain. It's October 5th today, 2021. It's been raining for about 2 days, but it's supposed to be stopped now for most of the week anyways. Good 3 or 4 days at least of dry weather. It's not too cold yet. Temperatures are still about 16 to 18 degrees during the day, Celsius. Still, I think around 12, 13 overnight right now. It was a bit cold last week. It got down to +5 or 6 a couple times. But everything's doing okay. Even the crown of thorns. The ones I repotted are doing alright. They're growing a little bit, it seems. The cuttings back there are doing okay. These are some new plants I got. I'm not sure what this is. I don't think it's a pencil cactus, but it's pretty cool looking. See what I can do with it in the future. It's got these weird kind of, I don't know, maybe it is a pencil cactus, but they get this kind of opening in them, like a little void there filled with something. Anyways. I'd like to give close-ups of all these trees. Just about everything is doing really well. I want to go through all these pines again because pretty much all of them are double flushing. Some of them are going wild. I mean, check this one out. It's got new shoots coming out everywhere. Now this is early October. This has been happening for a couple weeks. A couple weeks ago it started. I noticed some fresh green stuff maybe a few weeks ago. But not all of the buds have popped. That one's still intact down there, but the other top bud shot out all that new growth. Now pretty much all of the small ones, the small eastern or northern white pines anyways, whichever variety they are. They've all got new buds that are popping out everywhere and new growth. And I actually just noticed, here's my big one. This is one of the oldest trees I have. One of the first ones I collected that still survives. The old needles are yellow now. You can see where the new growth happened this year. And I don't think it grew much or at all last year, so pretty much the yellow needles, they look like last year's growth, but they're falling off already, so it's been a couple years. You can see those two branches grew in this year, and the old yellow needles are just at the junction there. It's definitely gone through some struggles since I first collected it. You know, still learning this process, so it took me a while to get things half right. Anyway, there's lots of new growth on this. I'm gonna let the old needles dry up and fall off on their own. It can absorb as much energy as possible from them. It's not really back budding anywhere. I think I noticed there's a small one over here. There might be one closer to the top. Anyway, not much back budding, but next year I'm going to pinch candles and prune everything to 2 shoots so it can push some energy back down the trunk and hopefully back bud along these branches, and I can get some more secondary branching going. All my cedar or thuya trees are doing really well. I think the smaller ones I just want to let grow, you know, especially something like that. I really don't need to prune it all, but you know, I want to keep these trees in different sizes, so these will probably be my 2 small trees. The one on the left there has some decent movement. In the spring I can prune these to shape. I think most of these I might do a little bit of pruning on something like that, but pretty much this is as late in the year as I want to be doing it, so I'll do, I think this big one needs some shaping. It'll have enough time to heal its wounds and go dormant for the winter. I really want to do some pruning on this one, make it more manageable. First of all, that one branch comes out really far, and just to maybe check its vigor a little bit. I want these 2 trunks to grow together, I guess, so I'll really have to cut down the main one and let the other one keep going for now. This willow leaf ficus I pruned a little while ago. I think it was probably 2 weeks ago now. I'll check, but it's doing really well. It's got some new buds forming along the main branches, and the growing tips that I didn't cut have all kept extending. Overall looks really healthy. I think it'll survive that pruning just fine. I'll bring it in for the winter soon enough. Ficus microcarpa is doing really well. Tons of new growth everywhere. You can see out of that main trunk that I chopped, there's 3 new long branches formed already. It's been a little bit over a month since I did the pruning here. Really happy with this development. The winter creeper cuttings I have in full light. They're still growing wild. This one I pruned about a week ago. It's doing okay. Still growing at the parts I didn't prune. Maybe I should prune this one as well. I didn't number these ones. They're the larger ones. Maybe I can prune the two of them in one video and then go through all the small ones in another. Maples are starting to turn color. Some of these aren't doing so well. There's some sort of disease or something that was happening to this one this year. This one got chewed up pretty bad by moth caterpillars, I think. Even though the Norway maples growing out of here are doing okay. That might be a little bit of powdery mildew. I can cut those leaves off. I had that issue on this one. I chopped all the affected leaves off. There's also another spot on some of them. But otherwise, in terms of disease, mostly everything else is doing really well. No issues. I really like this Japanese maple just sticking out in the middle of it. It has been red pretty much all summer. So I don't know what variety it is. Maybe it's I don't know what it's called. Something with blood in it, I think. Blood moon, something like that variety. I don't know if they'll turn green before they fall off or if they'll stay like that, but that's just beautiful. It's the only Japanese maple I have surviving. I would really like to keep it alive. I'll prune it way back in the spring. Keep it as a kind of smaller sized tree. These raspberries are really creeping in now. Blackberries. I can chop that back. There's a few fruit forming on the other side of the fence, but maybe I should also do a bit of pruning here. I don't know, it's kind of more manageable, I guess. It won't really get in the way too much, so maybe I'll leave that for the spring. We'll see. Here's the two cedars that I'm gonna work on. They both had really good moss that had formed. I put a couple small clumps in each of them when I first potted them up in here. This one's not doing so well. It's got a lot of dark patches there, and I think this stuff is crabgrass or something. It kind of looks cool. I was hoping to grow kind of a mat, almost like a lawn on it. That'd be hard to maintain though. And they're probably growing lots of roots down into the soil and taking up space and nutrients. So I think I'll pluck those out first and see what's going on with the dead parts of the moss here before I start doing any pruning of the trees. So I noticed this little guy on the ground, just growing some roots out of there. Thought it was a new seed or something that was sprouting, but I'm pretty sure it's a little wild onion. Those were the roots that grew it. And I've got a bunch of other ones here. They just came in fairly recently. There's one in the ground. Another one visible there. So I might pick some of them and see what they look like. Got a bunch of maples growing in the ground here that just sprouted on their own from the big maple tree out front, Norway maple. A bunch more garlic there. Here goes. So that's what they look like. These two still had green growth at the top. This one looks like it hasn't formed a skin or anything yet. The skin was mostly formed here. I accidentally peeled a little bit of it off there, but it's got these long, thin white roots. These roots are kind of thicker, and it looks like the top part had already dried up, and it's still a bit soft there, but the green part on top, the vegetation had died, and then it just hardened up and grew a nice skin. I guess I'll just take those roots off. Try these out, see how they taste. The rest of them I'm gonna let stay in the ground a little bit longer. There's a whole bunch of them growing. I might get a nice little mid to late autumn harvest. One thing I keep forgetting to show and comment on this persimmon tree that grew like crazy this year after I pruned it. First pruned it back in spring. Then when I was away for 3 months this summer, when I got back, I pruned a few of these branches. Pruned a few of these branches anyways, just to make some more space in the backyard. Now a little while ago, a week ago maybe, these were hard and just, you know, sitting at the end of the branches. Now they're soft again. Maybe it's because of all the rain. There's more water running through the branches, more sap. But yeah, anyways, the sap had collected. I didn't realize this tree would do that. There's tons of it on some of them. It's almost like a molasses or something. Anyways, when it hardens up a little bit more, or maybe I'll do it now, I'll collect it, see what I can do with it. Maybe make some kind of pitch. It's probably too soft for that, I don't know. Or not strong enough. Maybe I can do something else with it, make some syrup. I don't know, I'll look it up and see what I can do. If anyone has any ideas, let me know. That would be appreciated. October 15th today. You can see my large white pine. Its old needles are falling off now. They've gone fully brown in the rain and the wind. They've been falling off on all the other trees. So I'll spend some time just picking up all the needles from everywhere and taking the other ones off of the tree. Good needles are pretty sparse. You know, I just barely kept this thing alive. It had a really good year this year. I think next year it'll really take off in energy. I really like its slow and steady movement towards the left. Gonna try and get a bunch of back buds and get some more branching next year, sub-branching. I think the main branches are set. I'll kind of leave that strong, there's like, you know, kind of handlebars there, there, and there. And then at the top it kind of moves towards the left. Probably end up just getting rid of this little bit there. Is that a squirrel running across there? That one got flung away that way. This one broke the pot. That's my first broken pot. Look at all the roots in this thing. That is crazy. These rows of Sharon trees, just prolific growers. Oh, that's pretty sad. I'll have to pop it in something else. Got a couple small pots down there I can replace it with. My avocado. Half of the pit taken out. Someone tried to eat it. Squirrel, I guess. Hopefully that's gonna be okay. Just half of it. Looks a little bit torn. Try and cover it up a little bit. I also dug around in my crown of thorns. They do that a lot, actually. I don't know what they love about this soil so much, but they always dig in there, kick up that moss. This guy fell over. Doing okay, I think. Looks like that's all of today's damage. I showed you that one the other day. Fell off and broke. Leaves are changing colors on that maple. Also on the sumac over there. Leaves are changing colors a bit on the mountain ash. October 24th today, and I noticed something a little odd. So this is all that crabgrass that I planted in here last week, the other week, when I removed it from all the moss that was growing in one of my trees. And it looks like I've got a pine seedling. I'm pretty sure it's pine. I don't think there's larch around here in the neighborhood, but this just popped up on its own. Now it's a bit of a weird time of year for seeds to be germinating and sprouting, but there you have it. October 24th, it's kind of early to mid-fall. The weather's just starting to get colder now, so had our first frost this morning. So yeah, weird time on that pine seedling to germinate, but there it is. I'll continue to track its progress and see how it goes. Everything is looking good. October 29th today. Getting our fall colors in, slowly but surely. Norway maples, raspberry. The winter creeper is kind of shriveled up a tiny bit, some of these leaves, but there's fresh growth other places. These are the cuttings. That's looking really good. Not sure which maple. I think that's a Norway. Not changing yet. This is that poplar. These leaves haven't looked great in a while, but they're changing. That's one of the pawpaws. I don't know what happened to these leaves. Maybe they got burnt or something. Maybe they were under shade most of the summer and I moved them out. But the rest of them are doing really well. This one's getting some winter colors in, I think. Rose of Sharons are getting winter colors. Another Norway here. This bird. Anyways, I think I've learned that this is a sugar maple. Pretty sure. These are all Norways. Young seedlings. 2 years old now, I guess. This is my only sugar maple, if that's what it is. And then the other changing colors up here. This Japanese maple's always been this red ever since I put it outside. Pretty sure this one is a silver maple. The leaves are turning yellow. It's got these red petioles. And I'm pretty sure this one is the red maple. The leaf is a bit more squat. These ones are more elongated here. Nice red fall colors. Red petioles again. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got 4 different maple types. Silver, red, sugar, and then I've got tons of Norways all over the place. This mountain ash changing colors really nicely. It looks pretty cool. I'll have a lot of work to do in the spring. Pruning and repotting, all of which I'm looking forward to. Definitely. I don't know if I'll do a bit of pruning through the late fall and winter. I'll probably save most of it till end of winter and early spring, but we'll see what happens. Might get itching to do some pruning. This one's my favorite tree out here, our little sumac. The colors on it are so cool. Looks like a fire or something. Just in time for Halloween. Nice backyard decoration. So there's something on this pear tree that I noticed just the other day, actually. It's Halloween today, October 31st, 2021. And I only now realized there's a giant pear growing on this Douglas pear tree. It's huge. It's the only one. I didn't think any of the flowers got pollinated and started fruiting, but this one was kind of hidden by some leaves. And I didn't really take a super close look for a long time. And there it was. I'm gonna go check the other pear tree on the side of the house to see if there's any over there, because that's probably what cross-pollinated with this tree. Anyways, that was a nice surprise. It's still pretty firm. I don't know if it's ripe yet. I'll look into it and I'll pick it when it's ripe, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's cut open, how it tastes and all that. That apricot tree and this one performed amazing all summer. Tons of fruit off it. But these pear trees I had no hope for, really. I was thinking they'd probably just start next year. But it looks like we got a jump on it. That's awesome. Can't wait to try it out. It's a Douglas pear. I'm going to try harvesting this pear now. It's started to turn a little bit yellow. It's still pretty hard to the touch. Might not be ready. If I tip it, yep, that means it's ready. It came off pretty easy there. I didn't even have to rotate it at all. I just tipped it and it popped off. That's pretty great. I'll let that ripen up for a few days at least, maybe 4 or 5 days, and crack it open, see how it is.